confused. You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
I'm breathing. Still breathing. Oh, listen. Okay, I'm going to turn the hat around because I'm not going to be Mr. Grumpy Pants here. Okay, I'm going to try to do this the right way. Try to do it somewhat calm and somewhat refined. Do I have a solo live window? I don't think I do. I don't have a solo live window. How's that possible? There's no way. I thought I built that. Let me take a look here. I don't. I guess I always just do the like when I go ahead and record a show, I just go into that. Huh. That's interesting. Whatever. Fine, we'll just do that. All right. Don't Unfriend Me show. Matthew Spear. Nice to meet everybody. If I haven't met you before, you're in for a treat. Trying to get everything up here and opened. We'll let everybody come on. Okay. I was just, first of all, I hope that Jules is here. Jules, I got my new Don't Unfriend Me hat today, and I didn't have a chance to shape it. So, okay. Distractions. Jules and my Foxtrot Juliet Bravo hoodie that you can pick up at don'tunfriendme.com. So if you haven't had a chance, stop on by. All right, stop on by. So we're going to do a little impromptu show. I haven't prepared for this. I was literally sitting down playing Harry Potter. Just playing Harry Potter Legacy, 48-year-old man enjoying the Harry Potter game. Just chilling like Bob Dylan. I'm just randomly picking up my phone and just looking at what's going on in the world, having a meme that's ready to hit 250,000 views. It's got like 10,000 likes on it. It's a really engaging meme. And, I'm just chilling. Going to take the weekend off. No big deal. Just relax, spend time with the family. The kids are going to be spending the night with friends. So mommy and I are going to have mommy and daddy alone time. You know what I mean? Everyone knows what I mean. I think you know what I mean. Yeah, that stuff. So everything's great. I'm like 60% through the game. I've got about another 100 hours and, everything was going well. And this meme, by the way, Matthew Spear, host of Don't Unfriend Me and Breaking Truth. Good to see you. Welcome to the show, this Saturday edition. I had no plans of doing. I was going to come on live tomorrow, but alas, here I am. Because people can't just stop. That's the name of this show. People can't just stop. Listen, this isn't about lecturing people, okay? You get to do whatever you want. You get to say whatever you want. You get to think whatever you want. You get to do whatever the hell you want. until you encroach upon other people and they ask you to stop. And if you don't, well, then you need to make a decision. It's called a career dissipation light. You can continue to get that light to flicker at full time. And if that person has the power to put your light out, you might want to stop pushing them. An example, a parent. If you are under 18 and live with your parents, probably don't want to continue to needle and prod your parents, or you're going to get the wow. Yeah. Upside the head. Now, if you have a boss at work, if you decide to needle that guy, make fun of his toupee, maybe say he's a little thick in the middle from when you first met him, whatever it is, you just keep poking and prodding, your career dissipation light is going to go off. If you decide to go diddle other women, your wife is probably going to go ahead and your light's going to go off in overtime. If you're on a Facebook page that you happen to enjoy or don't, maybe you're just here once in a blue moon, maybe you're here every single day and you live here like Chav used to, and I will ban him every time I see him now. And he'll continue to create accounts and stuff, and we'll find out and we'll just ban his ass. But if you're that person, whether you've been here for 2 minutes or you've been here for 2 years, I want to be very clear. I have removed people from my page who are a hell of a lot more important than this person is. I don't know this person. I've never even seen this person. And why they feel that I owe them anything is beyond me. But I'm taking my time out of my Saturday. Can you imagine, not that I'm Ben Shapiro or Crowder or Glenn Beck, but could you imagine Glenn Beck be like, dude, I was on Facebook and one of my viewers said, and I'm going to get, you should be like, you know what? Holy shit. If out of all things, this guy's either completely crazy or he really cares about his viewers. Even the ones he wants to ban. So I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk about a viewer. And the reason why I'm going to talk about a viewer is because I don't have the patience. I created a show where I could do this from an auditory standpoint, because from a contextual standpoint, I don't want to type 3,000 words when I literally type 30,000 words a week on my shows. The last thing I want to do, it's like a plumber uninstalling a plumbing main. It's like a retailer going shopping on the weekend. I have no desire to get into a contextual debate with people on Facebook. In fact, I would rather fuck a brick wall, to be completely transparent, and pardon the language for the people who just came on. There will be some language in this show. And if you haven't tried to copulate with a brick wall, it is an effort in futility, with some mild chafing. But alas, I decided to get involved in that. And as I'm typing, I'm just going, ugh, to the drudgery. Like I'm not in my best form. I'm playing Harry Potter. One hand, I'm going like this, and I'm casting Levioso in the other one. And then all of a sudden I'm typing, listen, you better, I'm enough of this shit. Avada Kedavra. I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to type that. The killing curse? I'm muddling my metaphors. And when I'm in the game, I'm sitting here talking about a gun debate. And then Harry Potter turns around and goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just play the game. So needless to say, I didn't want to get into a contextual debate. So all I did, this is it. Now, I'm not going to play the victim here. I'm really not. And I'm trying to make light of this because I'm really not taking it horribly seriously. But this is the meme. It says, I can't believe it's already train derailment season. I still have my spy balloon decorations up. It's freaking hilarious. And it is blowing up on Facebook. People love it. It's doing well on Twitter as well. And I'm still sick, mind you. Thanks a lot. Hold on. So then what happens? People are like, what's going on in here? You're going to find out. So I make that post, and like I said, it blows up. I think in 1 hour, it had 2,700 likes, 1,500 shares, and 1,000 comments, and it was seen by 30,000 people. Incredible. Now it's up to 250,000. So I put up this it's just funny. You couldn't possibly be offended, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care what party you're with. It's funny. Nobody should be like, oh yeah, Matt, well, my decorations were Donald Trump's orange skin and the smell of Cheetos at McDonald's. There's no point. There's no fucking point to take offense to that meme. That meme is literally the most benign meme that has ever been created in the political landscape ever. You should just laugh. Every single person in America should have just been like, and moved on. And walk away. That's simple. That's all you should have done. That's all you should have done. But what happens?
You are fake news.
That's right. The fake news crowd comes out. The fake news crowd comes out. I wish I could fire them. In fact, I did remove a few of them from the site and just said, oh, fuck this. You're done. Just block. And then they come back and they send me a message on Instagram. Your show says don't unfriend me and I got you to unfriend me. Oh, you're a freaking up. Dude, it says don't unfriend me. It doesn't say don't unfriend you. And you're not my friend. Us knowing each other on Facebook does not make us friends. What makes friends with me is people who put something into me, make an investment, and I make an investment into them. There are plenty of people who watch my show who I would call a friend. In fact, I've got hundreds of them, if not thousands of them, who I know, who I talk to through chat, or they're on my show, or they call me personally. Great people. And we've become friends through our interactions. But if you think that you're going to come on the show and you're going to sit there and, put the purple-headed yogurt slinger across my face a couple times and me not ban your ass, you've got another thing coming, sweetheart. I don't know from what Karen Academy you're from, but I'm not going to keep your ass around. There's no false pretense. I have no problem banning people. And here's what gets you banned: lying. If you lie on my page, you're gone. You get a warning. I might let you do it 3 or 4 times, but if you literally are just posting nothing but lies, Republicans are Nazis, Democrats are the cabal and they eat children, and you continue to do that, you're getting your ass banned. That's number one. Number two, if you're not respectful, and I'm making an effort to be respectful for you, but you're talking about my wife and you're talking about my kids, you're probably going to go away. It's going to take a lot, though. That takes a lot. The third thing, and this, I know it's not right. If you're stupid, you're going away. Yes, I know. It's horribly shallow and weak-willed. But if you can't figure out that a sentence doesn't look like this. Hi, my name is Matt. I don't like Democrats. They are funny. You're a asshole. Now, let's put that up on the screen. Oh, damn it, Jim. Let's put that up on the screen. Hi, comma. What's up with the 3 dot? Why are we doing ellipses? Why can't you use a period? Why are you writing in all caps? Why are you saying your? Why are you not putting and? And I don't mind if you make one of these mistakes, but if this is what your post looks like, you're stupid. And I'm going to ban you. Not after 1 time or 2 times, but if you are this and a couple of other things that I just mentioned, you put these together, it is a recipe for disaster for your continuation on my site. Because we have higher standards here. And I'm not that desperate to get to 1 million, right? 143, you see the ticker. It just keeps moving all the time. I don't need you. Those people go, oh yeah, well, you're supposed to be loyal to your listeners. Actually, no, I'm supposed to be loyal to the truth and myself. That's the only person. So I can go ahead and be loyal to the others that have earned it. But if you're some stray listener and you decide to go ahead and poke, and I come back at you and you have ample warning, then whatever happens to you is all yours. It has nothing to do with me. So when you say to me, I'm an asshole, that absolutely is 100% proven, because I am. I'm arrogant. I'm a dick. I can be an asshole, but I'm also a really good guy if you follow some basic things, which is treat others with respect. Don't lie on my page. Don't link other people when I have an ad and tag their shit so they get free advertising. That shit drives me crazy. And the last thing, and the only thing that is a non-negotiable, is don't think you own me. If you buy some shirts from me, that transaction's done once you get the box. If you decide to send me something, which many listeners have, and I love you and appreciate it for you, and I brand it on the show for you, or I sell your cards, or I sell your clothing, or your soap, or whatever it is, because I care about you, you don't own me. And no one ever will. And that is probably why I will never be syndicated in my life. I will always tell you the truth. I will always be honest, but I expect you to understand that if you aren't those things, that you're going to be held accountable for it and probably go away. There it is. And they're simple rules. They're the golden rules. Treat others the way you want to be treated, period. You don't want to be lied to. You don't want to be insulted. You don't want your family picked on. You don't want people to communicate in a level with you that's beneath you. So don't treat me the same way. All right, now that we've got it, now that I've whined and I've cried and I've told you all these things, this video went out real simple. And I attached it right above the meme that I put out. And here's the meme once again, if you haven't seen it, just so we're all on the same page, because that's important. Here it is. I can't believe it's already train derailment season. I still have my spy balloon decorations up. Laugh, laughs ensue. So I decided, all right, fine. I'm going to make a video. And why did I make a video? Here's why. Because people kept coming on. And by reading that, they would decide to put, first of all, when a meme's perfect, it doesn't need you to try to make it better. That's a perfect meme. It needs no help. All it needs is for you to go LOL and put a smiley face. But no. Everyone decided that they had to put in their 2 cents to try to make it better. And that's fine. It's the internet. But here's what we got. I've still got my stolen election results up. Oh, okay, fine. Here we go. I've still got my Hunter Biden lawn decorations out. And all of them were good. Even the stolen elections. I mean, they were all good. They were all funny. You know, I've still got my I can't figure out if I'm a man or a woman lawn yard sign up. I mean, all good stuff, right? I jest. I'm trying to be funny. And as they tried to improve on it, I'm like, oh yeah, some of these are really good. But whatever. And then you've got this other person who came on. And this is what they said. I've still got that liberals murder children in school shootings sign up. Now, a lot of people would say, Matt, you've got thousands of comments on here. Why would you pick out the one that it's just some idiot dolt? Because that's what I do. And that's what I live on. I don't live on the people who are just, adding great positive energy to a meme. I want to go after that one idiot who wants to destroy it by getting it banned, because he can't not be a moron. So what do? I decide to go ahead and present that person with a video, and anyone else who decides to say that liberals murder kids in mass shootings. I'm going to make a video, because if that comes on again, you're going to go away. Plain and simple. You're an Alex Jones idiot. You couldn't have learned from Alex Jones. He has a billion reasons never to say those words again. Because not only is it completely unfounded, not only are there no facts to back it up, it's a fucking lie. And it's a lie of proportions where you are using pejorative language to break down a particular person based on somebody else's actions who is not of sound mind and body. They are completely and utterly nuts. And that is the one thing that mass shooters have in common. It defies all racial boundaries, sex, religion, political ideology. They're all fucking wacko. Cuckoo! Off the frickin' rails. Insane. And instead of saying, you know what, that was really stupid of me to say, it's just as bad as calling all Trump supporters insurrectionists because of a few dunderheads. Just like it's stupid to sit here and say that all Trump supporters are xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic because of the actions of a few. It's just as bad. It's just as bad as Antifa using fascism to get their point across. It's just as bad as the extreme elements of BLM. It's just as bad as the ultra Black Panthers who actually want to have conflict with white people. But that doesn't make up all of the group. That doesn't make up all of BLM. It doesn't make up all millennials. It doesn't make up all Black Panthers, surprisingly enough. And just like a few people in Washington, D.C., and it was a few who wanted to cause harm, less than 100, and then there was another group that were just out of control and stupid, like everyone on a Super Bowl night in Philadelphia. And then there was 57,000 who were just good, average, ordinary people who went home. Everybody has bad seeds. So not all the Proud Boys are racist, but some of them obviously are. Not all the Oath Keepers want to burn down the entire United States, but some of them obviously did. And not all Trump supporters are racist, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, whatever, but some of them are. And when you make a comment that all liberal mass shooters, all mass shooters are liberal and murder kids, you're in the moral depravity and you're fucking wrong. Liberals are a lot of things. Democrats are a lot of things. Comparing them to homicidal maniacs who put high velocity rounds into children's bodies is what they are not. Now, they may take advantage of these shootings and they may propagate them to take our guns away. That's a given. And dare I say that if there weren't abortions, Republicans wouldn't know what the fuck to do with themselves, some of them. Heightened sense of purpose is usually a derivative of intense and extreme circumstances. And school shootings, abortion, racial segregation, religious persecution, it's easy to get on the right side of those situations versus the wrong side of those situations. Because basic DNA, human nature, and our soul differentiate between something that's critical to our survival versus what's not necessary. And when we're talking about something like school shootings or cancer or religion, it's easy to get on the right side of history. Or the Nazis. It's easy to understand what's right and what's wrong. So when you sit here and say on a situation and an issue that is this serious and this destructive to the moral fabric of this country, which one of them is school shootings, and every single parent is terrified that that phone will ring and it's going to be their school with their children involved, you might want to have a little fucking decorum. On top of that, you don't know my history. You don't know anything about me. We went through Columbine as a community in Colorado. We went through the Aurora school shootings years later, or the Aurora movie theater shootings years later as a community. One of my stores as a DM was in El Paso at the Sila Vista Mall shooting. I've been involved at least closely to at least 3 major shootings, and I take this shit seriously. I carry in every movie theater. I haven't watched a fucking movie in 20 years in the movie theater because all I do is watch the exits. And I hawk every single person that comes in because I want to protect my family. Because yes, once you've been closely tied to a situation like that, you're always going to be gun shy, no pun intended. So when I saw this post, my thoughts were, I'm going to respond. And I'm going to make a video and I'm going to tell people exactly what I'm saying right here. And we're going to have a conversation. Here's the video. Hey, what's going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation? Listen, I'm always about free speech, something that's obviously important and imperative to me. And the Don't Unfriend Me show has always been about, don't unfriend me just because of my opinion. Understand is that when someone comes onto the site, we're not all immediately friends. That takes time, right? You have a conversation, you have a honeymoon period. I made a post on a meme that basically said, wow, I didn't know train derailment season came so early. I didn't even put away my Chinese spy balloon decorations yet, as just a little bit of a joke. And obviously this post blew up. Now people are coming on and talking about how Democrats are responsible for school shootings and all this other stuff. Listen, there is plenty to hold Democrats responsible for, but sitting here and saying that they have murdered children, you're just as bad as they are. And if you're that person, you deserve to be in that leftist Antifa, extreme BLM elements, and you are the problem. I think it's fine to sit here and challenge Democrats on who they are and what they do, but the moment that you start saying that they are responsible for school shootings, you need to go to InfoWars. You're an Alex Jones type person. This site isn't for you. I don't want you here, and consider yourself maybe not defriended, but not welcome. Thanks so much. All right. And anyone who knows me knows that that was pretty benign. I mean, come on. It doesn't get much nicer than that. It's just saying, come on, everybody, let's clean this up. Let's be a little bit more adult-like. Let's think about others' feelings. Hundreds of thousands of people have been impacted by school shootings. And we should be thoughtful of those people. Is that fair? That's what that said. Just honest. But some people can't let it go. Some people can't allow themselves to feel. And this is usually the first sign of narcissism, by the way. I'm sick still. I got to have a throat lozenge. I'm sorry. If levity makes you feel pain, you have issue. If reasoning and compassion cause you conflict, you have a problem. And if someone can't appeal to your human side, you also have a serious problem. And those things are usually, from a psychosis standpoint, closely tied with narcissistics, homicidal tendencies, depression, manic depression, bipolar disorder, and several other chronic mental ailments. Now, am I a psychiatrist? No. Am I a psychologist? No. But I did sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. And I had a mother who was all those things. So it makes me pretty much a fucking expert. And if you watch that video and you saw the whole thing, and you decided at that point, I am going to do exactly what Matt said don't do, and I'm going to respond, and I'm going to try to trap him into being wrong and showing him that liberals murder kids in mass shootings, then you demonstrate something else, attention-seeking behavior. And you fucking got it. So here it is. Here's the attention that you so desperately wanted that I'm going to give to you right now. And I'm going to answer all of your questions. And I'm even going to be reflective on my responses. Out of respect, Jules, just her first name, Jules. And she may be watching now. I asked her to watch. I said, Jules, you should come on and you should watch. And come and have a conversation with me. By the way, you can dial in if you would like to. If you're like, this isn't fair. This Matt guy's a jerk. He's not representing me properly. Here it is. Call in. I would love to give you a chance to defend your points. 1-804-504-1955. Call a show. It's for you. I pay for that number every month for people like you. So here it is. Here's my petty response. Because I know Ben Shapiro and Crowder and Glenn Beck and Don Lemon would never engage with a viewer like this. Well, that makes my show different because I engage with all of my viewers. And some people don't know that. And they walk into a buzzsaw and they're like, holy shit. I wish I never would have said anything. Well, here you are. Because unbeknownst to some people who've never watched my show, I interact with my viewers daily. And sometimes I will stay on for 3.5 to 4 hours just to get to all of their comments because I care about what they have to say, even though some of them are batshit deranged. I still love them. Jules says, so, immediately. The first word sets the tone for the entire sentence. So. And it's not like, so. It's so. It's a sentence. There's no comma. It's a full, complete sentence. So, I want to speak to your manager. So, how many Republicans have done mass shootings in the last 2 years? I just played the video. You're responding to the damn video that I just told you don't respond to and try and perpetuate that Democrats are responsible for all mass shootings in the United States. Please don't do it. And here we go. Now, I've been in debate my whole life. I was wicked at it. I was great at it in high school. Wasn't good at much else, but I could argue like the best of them. And most of the time, I didn't have any facts. I was just really good at pissing people off where they would lose their shit. But then I learned how to read and disseminate and process information and use it in a contextual way and an auditory way to be very convincing. And most people don't debate me. Because the reason why is I take the nuance out of debate. If you're an asshole, I just treat you like an asshole. If you're kind, I'm kind. If you're rude, I'm rude. If you're dismissive, I'm dismissive. If you're obtuse, I'm obtuse. It's really fucking annoying. And essentially, it takes away your advantage based upon how you debate and present yourself and allows us just to have a conversation that's usually pretty altruistic and telling. And in that arena, I usually do pretty well. And I don't know many people who debate like I do. But it's frustrating. So I reply to Miss Jules. Jules, if you're here, speak up. Nobody's going to make fun of you. No one's going to insult you. And I'm going to try not to do that here. She spelled it right, which is really good. Not Y-O-U-R. You are. I just replied, you're gonna be that person, huh? I don't break down the ideology of mass killers by their political affiliation, but you knock yourself out. It's benign. It's ending it. It's just saying, I'm not going to sit here and do this with you. I just told you I wasn't going to do this with you. Assume I already know the answer. Assume that I wouldn't have made the video unless I knew the answer. Assume that gun control is probably the number one thing I know about when it comes to the Second Amendment and our rights, right outside of freedom of speech. Those are my two most talked about and knowledgeable topics. So assume I've already done the math and assume I can drop all the stats on you and counteract every single stat you throw at me and blow you out of the water. Just assume that. And if you don't, that's your fault, because why would I have a show that's somewhat successful, that isn't sitting in the hundreds or thousands, if I didn't know what I was talking about a certain topic? And I'm not going to debate her, because there is no debate in this topic. Of course, at that point, as she tried to trap me, as soon as she tries to trap me, she says, I just asked a question. Where are my pearls? I'm going to clutch them. And was hoping to get an answer. Oh, fucking seriously. Okay, lady. Listen, I was born at night and I just fell off the turnip truck, but not last night. No, you weren't. You didn't want an answer. You already got the answer when I did the video. I already told you what the answer was. What you wanted was for me to say, Google, how many Republicans are responsibly for mass shootings? Oh, first search return. Hold on, let me read it. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to say. It doesn't agree with me. Let's go to the second one. No, not that one. Oh. This one agrees with me. And then come back to you. Dear Jules, you are a fucking moron. I just looked it up, and here's the link. Wrong guy. Wrong guy. It's not me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Never was, never will be. Now, before I could respond because I was searching Google to try to find the stats that I obviously had no idea what they were. She's so uncomfortable with her post, knowing that that's not going to do much good, I think. I think she kind of foresaw this. She goes, statistics don't lie. Sorry, that hurts some people's feelings. Okay, now the gloves are off. You're not going to call me a snowflake. You're not going to call me a Karen. You're not going to call me someone who's all up in their feelings. There are no feelings. That's the whole point of my video. I don't care about what your opinion is about this. There is no debate on this. You're the only person, and tens of thousands of others like you, who watch Alec Jones and watch InfoWars or watch some stupid American Patriot Bronze Eagle Gold.com 26, right? Because there's 26 other pages named that. Because they keep getting taken down and all they do is just change the number over and over because their site is full of shit. You listen to those pages, but those pages are not factual. They're editorialization. If you want to look up stats when it comes to shootings, go to the FBI. No matter how fucked up the FBI is, there is a level of impartiality when it comes to statistics from the FBI, because it's not just the FBI. Most people don't know this. There's criminal law firms that provide information. Depew gives them information. They have it come from universities. They have it come from the chiefs of police of all cities. The FBI collects this information. They don't necessarily process and make the information. And it's fairly readily accurate. A hell of a lot more accurate than a census or AmericanBaldGoldEagle.com26.org. Statistics don't lie. Just because you quote Ben Shapiro doesn't mean you can Ben Shapiro, okay? That's why I don't sit here and go, facts don't care about your feelings. It's not mine. I've said it before, but it doesn't mean that I go, statistics don't lie. Statistics lie all the time. So you believe in climate change. Jules, you're a conservative? You a climate change fan? Well, wait a second. Statistics don't lie. Do you believe a man can be a woman? Well, statistics don't lie. I saw it in the dictionary. It's real. It's true. Right? You believe that that spy balloon got no information on it, that flew and traversed over for 36 hours over the United States because Joe Biden said so? Statistics don't lie. Stats lie all the time. That's the problem. People lie. What doesn't lie is your effort to ensure that you disprove everything you think is true before you say it is. And you vigorously go after it and pick it apart, break it apart, dilute it to almost nothing of its original form. And if you still come out with the same resolution, therefore you've done your due diligence to find truth. That's what we do here. So if you're going to challenge me and say statistics don't lie, you're already behind the eight ball because you're wrong. Statistics lie all the time. My reply to Jules. Typical response from someone who is incapable of articulating their point. You want to debate this live and see who shows up? Please. Your argument is ludicrous and contentious. Grow up. Probably a little sensitive. Not going to lie. I think at that point I was pissed. The next line I definitely was, because that's when I read her comment about feelings. And I said, what statistics? What a nutter. And I put a peanut emoji with ER at the end of it. It was very clever. And I simply said, you already think you know the answer, which is why you asked to begin with. Do you find yourself clever? I won't be sucked into your deluded narrative. Jules then comes back and decides to play the victim yet again and says, wow, nothing like attacking your followers who don't agree with you on a topic. Okay, let's be clear. We're not on a date. We're not courting each other. We're not in a wrestling match. We're not sparring. This isn't a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. We're having a conversation. You're not being attacked, first of all. Am I being condescending? Yeah. Am I dismissing you a little bit? Sure. I'm not attacking you, not any more than you were attacking me. Or do you believe a woman can't attack a man? It's pretty sexist of you. It's a whole nother conversation. But nobody's attacking anybody. We're on a frickin' phone. And any damage that's happening to you is something you're participating in willingly, because all you got to do is shut up and leave. All you got to do is not respond. All you got to do is walk away. All you got to do is hit block. All you got to do is pick up your controller and continue to play Harry Potter and have a great weekend with your family. Yet you want to wax intellects with some guy on the internet that you don't even know. And I'm acquiesced to your request. And here we are. To Jules, attacking. Now who is sensitive? You throw insults my way and expect me to treat you with a modicum of respect. Get the fuck out. Here's her reply. Let's see, she says. The Uvalde shooter had pics of him wearing a dress. Last time I checked, Republican men don't wear dresses. J. Edgar Hoover. Caitlyn fucking Jenner. That's it. You're done. Not only did I give you one, I gave you two. So this is the problem with making absolutes. You're like a Sith. Only a Sith speaks in absolutions. Only a Sith gives ultimatums, he does. You don't speak in absolutes. No Republicans ever have worn dresses. Lindsey Graham, I'm pretty sure he wears panties, allegedly. Cross-dressing, it has nothing to do with political affiliation. If you want to get your freak on and wear some underwear, some women's underwear, you don't sit here and go, oh, hold on a second. Which political party am I in again? I'm a Democrat. I can do it. I'm a Republican. I'm going to resist the urge. If you want to wear a G-string and wear frilly lace panties, I don't care what party you're in, you're going to do it. And guess what? More power to you. I don't care. It's part of your freedoms. Do it in your own home. I don't want to see it. Have a subscription site on the internet that people have to pay to see behind a firewall. Otherwise, I don't care. But don't sit here and tell me because the Uvalde shooter wore a dress that immediately makes him a liberal. Because if that is absolutely true, then I just showed you that it's wrong. Now, is it safe to assume that if somebody's wearing and they're a cross-dresser, that they probably are not a diehard Republican? Yeah, I think that's probably safe. But how many times has the press thought that somebody was white who was a shooter and put out the mass shooter, and then that person wound up being black or Mexican or Islamic, and then all of a sudden ghosted it? How many times have stats been wrong? And does it make you a transvestite or a cross-dresser or a she-male if you decide to put on a dress once in your life and you get photographed? Or what if you went through a phase? Or what if you didn't have any clothes that were clean? I don't know what to tell you, but you're making assumptions, and presumptive arguments are dismissed in courts for a reason, because they're based on conjecture and they're circumspect. So if you're going to sit here and say, because the Uvalde shooter had a dress, therefore he's a liberal, that is ergo Proctor Hawk. I don't remember the ending of it. It doesn't matter, which basically means if A and B is equivalent, it equals C, which is not true, which is saying because COVID was a pandemic and Oklahoma has a panhandle, COVID originated in Oklahoma. It's a false equivalency. Ergo hoc proact. It's one of my favorite Latin sayings. I'm sick. It doesn't matter. Look it up. Everyone knows it. Or you don't know it, and I don't care. You're making a false equivalency. You're saying because of something, something else is guaranteed, and that's not true. Because I won the lottery, I will be happy for the rest of my life. That's not necessarily the truth. You can't do that. Just because someone was wearing a dress, they're a liberal. That's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. So then I made a comment. And I put up some stats because stats are important. And here they are. It says, I will play your game. This has nothing to do with anything. Religion, race, creed, sexual orientation, politics have rarely to do with mass shootings at all. They have one commonality, psychosis, period. Please knock off this narrative and what you think you know based on 2 shootings. So I decided to go ahead and get a chart of all political affiliation based on mass shootings from 1998 to 2021, January. Now, this isn't all mass shootings in the history of the world, but this is a very strong sample size of 23 years. and fairly relevant to today. As you can see, no mention of political affiliation, as 72% of mass shooters have no political affiliation whatsoever. Islamic, as you would expect, would be fairly high at 9%. Liberal or Democrat is 4%. Conservative or Republican is 2%. Right wing, which is not Republican, just like leftists are not liberals, is 2%. Anti-government is 1%. Black militant groups are 1%. Did not vote for Trump, 1%. You see how they got that one in there. Hate politics, left wing, 1%. Legal resident alien of the United States, no political association, registered as a Republican in prison, and unaffiliated voter. Now, that's from the crimes database. If that is true, even a scintilla of it's true, even if it's off by 20%, it disproves everything that people say when they say that all Democrats are responsible for mass shootings where kids being murdered is involved. It is the most ludicrous comment ever. Just like anyone that says it's all Republicans are also ludicrous, and it's completely stupid. She then sends me an article, like most people, and doesn't read the article from the BBC. First of all, why the fuck are we listening to the BBC? I stopped listening to England in 1776. I wasn't even alive yet. But essentially, this U.S. lawmaker that she cites, her name is Claudia Tenney, essentially said that Democrats use mass shootings to their political advantage. Yeah, they do. I didn't say they didn't. What I said was that they were not responsible for all mass shootings where kids are involved, and to say that it's all liberals who shoot schools up would be inaccurate, false, and sick. But to say that Democrats don't use shootings as a political pawn or an advantageous situation, they do. And nothing that I said disagrees with that statement. But of course, she's changing the topic. She then says, I didn't throw any insults your way at all. You got angry because I asked a question. No, I got angry because I specifically stated to you what was and was not okay to do on my page, and then you decided to do it anyway. And then not only that, you tried to trap me by asking me how many Republicans when you assumed you already knew the answer. And I'm not that stupid to take that bait. Then I said to her following, failed to read the article. Did I say the left doesn't politicize shootings? You don't even know what you are arguing. What a waste of my time. Your entire premise is insulting to innocent Americans who never participated in mass shootings. It's pathetic. It's what the left does. Be better. And then here's her final retort, which made me come on. Do you always treat people who don't agree with you like shit? No. Last time I checked, followers were the reason people had these shows. Okay, here we go. I never once made a bad comment to you. I simply disagree with you. See, but here's the problem. If you disagree with me and you can't prove why you disagree, then you don't just disagree with me. You want to disagree with me. You can't. There's a very big difference. If you can't rebut my stats and my truth, my evidence, which is just truth and factual evidence, then you're not looking to prove a point. You're not looking to express your thoughts. You're looking simply to argue on a baseless foundation. That's not the same thing. And I don't mind arguing. I don't mind debating. What I don't like is wasting my time. He says the only one in the past 2 years that was not a Democrat was the Buffalo, New York guy who hated both parties and called us eco-terrorists. It's a complete lie. She has absolutely no idea where most mass shootings originate from. And they originate from impoverished areas, the inner cities. And none of those have political affiliations. Very few gangbangers are registered Republican or Democrat because most of them are under 18 years old. And that's where that 72% comes from predominantly. Now, if she wants to go ahead and break down the political demographic between the ages of 18 and 45, now that's a completely different story. But that's not what she said. It's really not that hard to go down to your own dive into these people to figure out who they were, but treating people like crap who don't agree with you is very much in line with the woke mob. Could someone do me a favor and define what woke means? I would really appreciate it. Give me a definition of what woke means, because the only thing I've come to realize about what the word woke means, and I use it myself, and usually for one specific thing, it's teaching it history or teaching something that's not factual or historically accurate. That to me is the definition of people who are ultra woke. But according to everyone, woke is anyone who doesn't agree with me is woke. That's what it seems to me that woke now is. If you don't agree with me, you're woke. Just like if you don't agree with me, you're a rhino. Lastly, says, those two were the only ones I used as examples. I have done my own searches on these people. Some had manifestos posted on YouTube and other platforms, and it's not that hard to tell who they were. Yet, those two people did not shoot up from their perspective, from a political standpoint, in any way, shape, or form. I said, I'm going live right now. You want to discuss further? Come on the show. She says, oh, whatever. I look into their backgrounds to see who they are. We disagree, and it's not that big of a deal. So what we disagree, you believe what you want, and so will I. Not the end of the world. Right. I like to see what they were about and see what they were thinking, kind of police investigation source. It's really not a big deal. It is a big deal. Because what you just did was say that all mass shootings, specifically in the last 2 years, were performed by liberals, leftists, Democrats. The thing that people don't seem to understand is that the large predominant group of Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, which make up about 90% of the electorate, are moderate people. They're just like you and me. We disagree. We may not like each other on some things, but overall, we still barbecue together. We go shooting together. We go bowling together. We pick each other's kids up. We have sleepovers at the house. We drop off Christmas cookies during Christmas time. That's the majority of America. And then there's this 10% element that have hijacked the parties, that have hijacked the narrative that's out there to simply say that if you are not with me, you're against me. It's an absolute, it's an ultimatum, and it's essentially what Joe Biden has done to us. And nobody liked that feeling. Even Democrats said it was highly inappropriate for him to say that. When you go ahead and you project and just change the window dressing, but do what liberals do and what leftists do, you're just as guilty as them. I don't care what party you're on. I don't care what side you're on. If you were pissed off at Joe Biden leaving weapons behind in Afghanistan, you should also be pissed off that Donald Trump left weapons behind in Syria. Period. If you're upset with Joe Biden for lockdowns, you should be upset with Donald Trump for lockdowns. If you're upset with Joe Biden because of the vaccine, well, you should be upset with Donald Trump over the vaccine. If you are upset with Joe Biden about classified documents, then you should be upset with Donald Trump with classified documents. Or you shouldn't be. But what you don't get to do is do selective outrage and pick selective stats in order to prove your point on my page. Because then what you're doing is you're lying. And you're taking and hijacking my audience so you can also convince other people who might be on the fence or might be exploring a little bit of a deeper thought or trying to come out of the entrenchment that they are. And you're literally like giving them whiskey to an alcoholic. Not on my page. It is a big deal. Now, if you want to sit here and say that there is an increased number of liberals, Democrats, what considered liberals and Democrats, or people who are not conservatives who are getting involved in shootings, fine. You want to say that? Fine. You want to go ahead and say that you disagree with the leftist principles and you don't agree with their process, abortion. I don't care. All of those are valid points. And plenty of people said things about that I disagree with, about January 6th, about clones, about Guantanamo Bay, about Ron DeSantis, and I didn't say a damn word. But the moment that you go ahead and assign half of America from being murderers of school children, you're not going to get away with that shit on Don't Unfriend Me. So, Jules, I gave you a platform. I gave you an opportunity to come on. You blew it off. You made a big deal of it. And the moment that I said, let's go live and talk about it, you immediately backpedaled and said, oh, come on, this is not that big of a deal. We can agree to disagree. That's my fucking line, not yours. That's it, y'all. What a interesting afternoon. Let's get to some comments. Let's see who's on. Colleen says, laughter is a good thing. Laughter is critical to my personal survival, Wendy says. Wendy, what the hell are those poodles doing? I can't see it. I don't want to know. Amy says, we must remember history or we are doomed to repeat it. Outstanding. Another way to put it, what is past is prologue. Dorita says, the show is great. I try to never miss it. Let me put this down below. Try to never miss it. Listen to Matt and so many comments except for the stupid ones from people that don't know what they're talking about. Laura says, Biden's mouth causes a lot of that shit. Stephen Fricks, glad you accepted my invite. Oh, Chevelle, you know Stephen. Well, thanks, Stephen. Great video. You told it like it is. Thanks, Debbie. Sherry says, comparison can be evil. It can be. Kay says, hey, I like watching some Alex now and then. Well, I like to read the National Enquirer when I was younger. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't sit there and say it's fact. I'm not saying Alex, listen, would you like me to give you Alex Jones' top five most craziest fucking platforms and things that he believes? I don't think you do. He believes some really weird shit. And he's not right all the time. All these people are like, oh, the only thing he wasn't right about was Sandy Hook. No, there's plenty that he hasn't been right about. So let's stop. Alex Jones is Alex Jones. He's not my particular brand of vodka because I like things that are based in fact. Jim says, common sense, you've got it. And unfortunately, it's something that isn't so common anymore. Keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep watching when I can. Thanks, Jim. Tamara says, love you, man. Ditto. Mentally ill people murder kids. Couldn't have said it better myself. Nice sweatshirt. I got mine too, Kristen. I'm excited. Cheryl says, wow, pretty heavy. No, it's pretty light. It's only about 8 ounces. Oh, sorry. Hi, Matt. How are things? Thomas, good. First time catching you live, Matt. Hi, Wendy. Good to have you here. We love you too, Matt. Always a bit of spice in every show. Most excellent. Thank you, Thomas. Batshit deranged. Jason raises his hand. I've spent time with a guy. Yes, that's true. Wendy Moore, me too. He's awesome. Thanks, Stephen. I really enjoy the people here. They're really nice, and Matt is terrific. Thank you, guys. You guys are very cool, too. Good people. Let's see if I can change this background here. Make that black. Hey, that looks better, doesn't it? See if I can do that again. I found you last week and you're freaking awesome, Jesse says. I love everything you have to say when you're going to run for president. Never. I'm too smart. Nope. Not going to run for president. Sorry to say. Sorry to say. Not going to do it. Sorry, I'm fixing these. There we go. All right, these should look better now. They shouldn't dish it out if they can't take it. Well, you know, I don't want people to think that, you know, you have a different opinion and I'm going to come at you. I warned you. I mean, it basically says minefield. Don't go any further. 50 yards. Minefield. You're going to step on one and blow off your legs. Don't go any further. 40 yards. Minefield. 30 yards away. You must turn back. 20 yards away. Not kidding anymore. 10 yards. Death is imminent. 0. And then you get exactly what I said. And then you're like, what did I do? I didn't know. You knew. You knew just what your Jules knew just what she was doing. Nobody called in. What's going on? Oh, Josh says liberals never let a crisis go to waste. So they say, like Biden condemning assault rifles because the monster that killed those kids at MSU with a handgun. Isn't it the truth? What's going on, Joshua? Karen goes troll on Matt's meme. That's pretty much it. Vox will have your back on that one. Dion says it very well. Mass shooters are a special breed of evil and usually don't suffer from a political persuasion that dictates their actions. Dion, that's absolutely correct. And why? I've read the Democratic platform. I've read the Republican platform backwards and forwards. And the one thing I've never read is anything about being a mass shooter to qualify. It makes no sense. It's dumb. Chevelle says he's having a beer with a friend, I think. At least that's what he posted earlier. The police and ambulances here at the orchestra. Some drunk guy is having a breakdown. Glad he's getting some help. Ugh. Amy, I saw your new home. Congratulations. Oh, man, this damn cold. I can't get rid of this sickness. Dang it, there goes the internet. Poll numbers lie too. Yes, they do. Bill Gates has a book on his desk titled How to Lie Using Statistics. Stats can be used to fit the narrative. Thank you, darling. Jessica says, most mass shooters probably don't vote, therefore are probably not Democrats or Republicans. As for making the biggest scene of an incident that happened, Democrats are much more likely to try to grab guns because it happens. Boom. That deserves...
Fantastic.
It is fantastic. Something more than that.
Congratulations.
That's a little more enthusiastic. Bishishish. Yep, just like the statistics didn't lie in 2016 presidential election. What statistics are you referring to? I don't know what that means. What statistics are you talking about? Maureen says, look hard enough and they can justify anything or make it up as they go along. Jared says, the most introspective of souls are often those that have been hurt the most. Well said. Amy says, Matt, you need to introduce this person to your friend named Truth. Chevelle says, Matt is the only show that I've watched where he actually wants to give people a shot to defend themselves. He interacts with his chats. Yeah, listen, it's not about defending yourself. Just come on and have a conversation, right? Let's talk. Why are we sending texts? Don't we do that enough? I mean, I don't know, man. If somebody wanted me to come on live and pick up the phone or whatever, I would. I just, maybe that's just me. But if you're afraid of it, well, then that should tell you why. There's something there of why you're afraid. And it's because you think that, with all due respect, I'm going to embarrass you. Or it's not worth your time. Or I don't know why. But all of those reasons are unacceptable because you're in there from a textual standpoint. Read me the riot act. Well, then let's come on live so we can have a real conversation because nothing is ever solved on Facebook. It's ridiculous. Matt, this week I received a request from a woman that read one of my comments online and wants to be a friend. Jesus, banner. Okay. There's a lot of people who prey on others on Facebook and all social media. And usually when somebody says, hey, I want to be your friend, they want more than that. Usually it leads to your social security number or a credit card or wants you to buy something. Don't get involved. Just stay away from people like that. You want to meet a woman? Go to a bar. Dottie says, I refuse to do any back and forth with people like this. Just say, bless your heart and done. Well, Dottie, unfortunately, I run a site that encourages this. So who would I be if I didn't engage with my audience? Okay, so Bashish keeps making comment, and this is typical. Log cabin Republicans. I understand the reference. Who are you applying that to? I've become friends with several people through this show and another, so have I, Roxanne. Have people really come down to this? So many of them have no clue and I don't know them. Why do I want friends? I don't know. I don't know, Jesus. Yeah, Amy says my husband was forced to dress like a girl by his sisters for Halloween. So was I. I had dressed up in a girl's swimsuit. It was embarrassing. I pronounce that a little different. Pandemic in my vocabulary has an L right in front of the P. That's funny. But she says he was Hispanic, so she is assuming his political association was based on his race, which is pretty damn racist if you ask me. Exactly. And the fact that he wore a dress, he's sexist, right? Just because you wear a dress, you're what? You're more inclined to shoot people? It's stupid. Amy says, I send Matt articles and he rolls his eyes. They're horrible. I asked to borrow his BS detector. Yeah, listen, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything yet. But yeah, if you listen, you don't need me. If you're sending it to me, you already know it's bullshit. If it was legitimate, you would say, Matt, read this. This is insane. You need to do a show on it. That's when people and then I read it. I'm like, oh my God, I got to do a show on this because they've already qualified it. But if you send it to me, go, Matt, look at this for me. I'm like, you already know the answer. You wouldn't send it to me if you knew. If you didn't know, you know. If you have doubt, trust your instincts, people. Trust your instincts. This is interesting. Jared says, alert to and concerned about social injustice and discrimination. He's an activist and very woke. Woke culture has moved into mainstream journalism. Neighborhood is very woke area. Usage and adjective was first recorded. Right. But if you're going to go ahead and say that, then you need to define social injustice and discrimination. Is that systemic social injustice? Because I don't know what that means. What is injustice socially? Is that people don't like you? Is that unjust? Define social injustice. That's the problem I have. And that's why woke doesn't really transcend to every single person. And it's hard to disseminate because it's different for everybody. What really frustrates me is people like, I'm not woke, I'm awake. Well, what does that mean? I'm no longer sleeping. What are you, the Matrix? Okay, Neo, take the fucking blue pill and shut up. I don't understand that either. Why do we feel that we have to compete with the level of stupidity of liberals? I would, of course I'm awake. We wouldn't be talking if I was. Otherwise, I have a serious, severe case of sleepwalking disorder or narcolepsy. See, I'm big on words. I'm big on the meaning of words. And just filling something with nothing is just a waste of time. Who gives a shit if you're woke? The question is do you know what you're talking about? That should define whether you're awake or woke or not. And when somebody says that all Democrats are responsible for school shootings, you're not woke, you're not awake, you're an idiot. And honestly, your deductive reasoning awake is about as good as if you were asleep. I don't know. Woke is liberal ideology. I don't know. I don't know, Debbie. Debbie, I know I could ask you a question. I could say, do you believe that Black history should be taught just as prominently as white history in schools? Do you agree with that? I think you would say yes. Does that mean you're woke? No. Does that mean you're fair? Because that's what just is, right? Fairness. That's what equality means. It's fair. Should we give as much credit to African Americans as we do white people? Yes, if they've earned it. Especially in history. Does that mean you're woke? No. Should you replace white history with Black history in order to make Black history more prominent? No, then you're fucked up. Then you're racist. See the difference? So I don't know. I don't know if challenging the norm of your party or the popular opinion makes you an ideological stigma. I think you challenging the norms of your party, I think you pushing past the boundaries of your party makes you a frontiersman or a frontier woman. It makes a frontier person. I'm so woke. I think you're blazing a trail. So when I challenge Republicans on the way that they think, or I challenge Democrats on the way that they think, I believe that that's a pioneer in the party. I believe it's somebody who's trying to bring us back to the center, which is where we all should be. Because if we simply focused on defense and border security and nothing else, our country would fall apart. And if we simply focus on infrastructure and social politics, our country would fall apart. The truth is we need liberal politics and we need conservative politics, because if you really want to know the truth, classic liberalism are where both parties were born from. And the ultimate ideology is that all ships rise at high tide. And we do what's right for the individual as a republic, and we do what's right for the collective in a democracy. And that's the true difference between a republic and a democracy. And that's why conservatives are focused on the republic and Democrats are focused on democracy. I believe in individual rights, and every single person has their right individually and not from a collective whole standpoint. And when we start making policy that focuses on the collective and not the individual, we lose our identity. Now, you want to challenge that? That's fine. That doesn't make you woke or awake. It just makes you a smart human being. But the moment that you say that you and you and you and you have to all feel the same way and think the same thing and agree with everything well, that's completely different. I think that's not woke. That's totalitarianism. That's collective groupthink, and that's antithetical to a free society. So when I hear woke, I don't think that that's a bad thing, so to speak, because it wasn't always used that way. I think people have hijacked it and turned it into something that it's not on both sides. I just wish that people would stop being asleep. I don't give a shit if it's awoke, awake, or you have a serious case of lack of REM, or you've got the shits in the middle of the night, or you got a pee and a weak bladder. Whatever it is, every single person needs to stop being asleep and take a responsibility for their 3 feet. And if we would just do that as a society, we'd be better off. Josh says, Buffalo wasn't what most think. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you like. He was there to get one guy. The rest was for show. School shootings have nothing to do with politics. It's a breakdown of the moral fiber of our country. I think that's very fair, Roxanne. Jared says, I'm woke, but I'm woke to God. Man. Okay. Who should we be mad at for southern borders? I'm going with the B regime. I think you need to be mad for the last 30 years of politics. It's not just Biden. It's not just Trump. It's not just Obama. It's not just Bush. It's not just Clinton. The border has been this way since Ronald Reagan. If you want to blame anybody, blame the government. That's who you blame. Sincerely. If you want to call the show, please do. 1-804-504-1955. Hi, Sue. Good to see you. Nancy. It's always been an issue, but with Biden, he opened it. Kristen says, I'm pretty sure Jules is watching. I think she is too. It's sad she didn't call in. Oh boy, she got your goat. I don't think so. What does that mean? Got my goat. Meh. If my job is to interact with my viewers and it's what makes my show different, then how is that getting my goat? Wouldn't she have my goat if I wouldn't have responded or just banned her? So in your eyes, Carmen, you got my goat because I'm replying to you. Is that correct? Help me understand what you're saying. See, and almost like, I could understand if I could sit up here and I'd say, nobody can ever get to me. No one can ever bother me. In fact, when I talked about these things, I talked about that there was a level of sensitivity to some of my responses. I think that's very self-aware. What are you looking for from a human being, especially a host of a show? Do you think vulnerability is weakness? Do you think his strengths is facade? Do you think that if there are levels of vulnerability, that makes that person weak or they have their goat gotten? I think you have very lofty expectations for people, and you say it like it's a bad thing. Was I frustrated? Yes. Was I disappointed? Yes. But did somebody get my goat? Did somebody pull my Laria? Did somebody tickle my Johnson? No, I don't think so. But, you're entitled to your opinion. You need chicken soup, Matt. Feel better. Oh, boy. Let me tell you. Larry says, love what you're doing. Thanks. Steven says, wow. Matt took a gal to school. Jessica says, this is interesting. I dislike the fact that those who are doing a thing are throwing shade at someone else who may be doing the same thing, especially when it is difficult to prove they actually did it and not just framed. I'm also tired of all the fake events. Juicy Smollett. I'm not sure I understand that completely, but damn it, you have a right to say it. Wendy goes, oh, that's funny. I never thought my doggies were doing. I just saw it. No, thank you. I never said he was right. Just said I enjoy. Kay says, fair enough. Matt, do you find out if your weekly show is in conflict with Tim Pool? It is. Yeah, he's on at 8:30 and I'm on at 8:30. So I got to make a decision here. The question is, what do I do? And I'd like to ask y'all. I think adding a weekend show would be a good thing. But even on a Saturday, he's not on right now. But it's Saturday. So I don't know. The question is, what do you guys think? I thought about doing it at 7. I thought about doing it in the afternoon, but then I got to compete with Benny. I listen, if your show is good, doesn't matter what time slot you're on, you should pull viewers. And maybe my show isn't good enough. I don't know. Carrie says, I have a question on a different subject. Where did the shell from the Sidewinder missile that missed wind up? Do the ones that hit their target disintegrate? Just curious. No, AIM, Sidewinders don't have a self-destruct button or anything like that. And the thing is that they are made up of, I can't go into specifics, but they're made up of very light and cellulose-based material. They are permeable, so to speak. So if they hit water, let's just put it this way, they don't survive. If they don't hit, they fizzle out. And if they don't make contact with what they're locked onto, they're as benign can be. And a Sidewinder isn't this giant missile. It's essentially a very small grenade in airspace. And its design isn't to blow up a craft. When you see a Sidewinder, where they shot him at Godzilla in that Godzilla movie from 85, and they're bullshit. Okay? It's like shooting a bear with a BB gun. Sidewinders aren't going to do shit. But they're designed to ultimately lock onto the turbines and the exhaust of the engines of an aircraft and have enough of explosion to damage the fuselage, the aeronautics, the wings, the tail, the rudders, etc. So it becomes inoperable, or damage the fuel system or the hydraulic system. And when that happens, it renders the aircraft inoperable, and then you obviously pop the canopy and go swimming or land in the desert or whatever. But if a Sidewinder misses and it never activated, and I can't imagine that any of them did because they didn't have a heat signature, if they truly used AIM-9X Sidewinder missiles, which are heat-seeking missiles, and it wasn't some form of another missile, and that's all we're hearing, that essentially it would miss the target, make no adjustments in flight, and they ultimately got some sort of tonality on that object and fired. And if the first one missed, it ultimately would flow back to Earth and be completely obsolete with no chance of blowing up or anything else. So that's my answer to your question. Jared says, Matthew 7:3, why do you look at the first insignificant speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice and acknowledge the egregious log that is in your own eye? Where are you? Why is my screen just black, but I can hear you and see comments? Penny, close out of Facebook and come back in, by the way. How did your chat become the dummies I feel at home? Wendy, it's pretty simple. You can see it on the hat. Don't unfriend me. So DUM was the acronym. And we were all talking one night. We were talking about Barstool Sports. And they are called the Stoolies. And not because they're stool pigeons, but the bar stools. And someone goes, well, we should be the dummies. And this was the time that, people were saying deplorables and, everyone's racist and xenophobic and all these tropes about Republicans. And it just kind of made sense. And ever since then, everyone's become the dummies, the dumb nation. I don't know, it just stuck. And I have to explain it. Some people go, why you call me dumb, man? I'm not going to watch your show. And I'm like, you know what? It kind of works as a filter too. I want smart people on my show. Like, I want people who are intelligent, who question things, who challenge me. Like Carrie and I butt heads all the time. And it's not because I don't like her, because honestly, I'd love to have a beer with her and hang out and talk to her. But she rubs me away. Just, that's all. It's like what Antoinette did. And until Carrie comes on here live and we have some dialogue, now Antoinette, I love her to death and she doesn't rub me the way at all. I think Antoinette's amazing. And I think Carrie's amazing too. Rhiannon says, hi, Matt. Hi, Rhiannon. Nancy says, Matt, you're a sweet brother for everyone to have on their side. You tell the truth. Love watching every time you're on, teaching us a lot. We love you, Matt. Keep up the good work. Thank you, ma'am. We have a new chair for the Michigan GOP. Do we now? So do you need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of your show, like when we go to Dick's Last Resort? Listen, I'm not really an asshole. I know I come off that way sometimes to people, but I just, if you talk to Jordan Peterson, and I don't know Jordan at all, but I kind of listened to him enough. And if you asked him what his motivation is, I think that he loves being a student. And I could be wrong. He could watch this maybe and someone tells him and he's like, no, that's not who I am. What is this guy talking about? He's adult. But I think Jordan appreciates being a student, and it happens so rarely for him to truly learn something completely unknown or something that he hasn't encroached upon with his thought process, that he is essentially a panhandler or a gold miner for original thought. That's what I think about Jordan Peterson. And it could be way off. I want people to become self-aware. Like, that's my goal. I want them to know themselves so well that they don't get embarrassed, or if they do, they're not embarrassed by it. Do you know what I mean? It's like if someone came on here and put me in my place and I'm like, oh, fuck you. You're embarrassed by being embarrassed. And that is a human emotion, but it's one that you can control. It's like getting mad about being mad. You should always be aware of who you are and never surprise yourself. And the moment that you do surprise yourself, know how to react to it, right? So I love it when people become self-aware. I love when people go, you know what? I could have done that better. And I'm like, oh, what? That's awesome. But then they're also like, well, you could have done this better. And then I'm like, okay, now we're talking. Now we're getting someplace. And my best friends that I have, we do, Leroy and I do that with each other. Amy and I do that. My wife and I do that. One of my neighbors who eats breakfast with me on the weekends, we did that. She's Democrat. And, I noticed that every time I would engage with her, she would do this and I would talk politics. And I finally just was like, I'm going to stay away from her because I'm upsetting her. And so she's like, come sit next to me. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go sit next to Mike. And I did. And she's thought I was mad at her. I said, I'm not mad at you. I'm frustrating you by me talking politics. She's like, that's not true. I'm like, yes, it is. Why can't you tell me that? And we had this great dialogue, this conversation, and ultimately we learned a ton about each other. That's what excites me. Caller, where are you from? And what is your name? All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get you in here audio-wise. Okay. All right, go ahead. Now, what was your first name again?
It's Mel from Canada.
Oh, hey, Mel from Canada. What do you want to talk about? Why aren't you doing video?
Well, because my hair's not done, so yeah.
Oh,
I don't have
well,
I don't have my makeup on, and yeah.
all right, buddy. What are we talking about tonight?
No, just a couple, whatever, because the last couple of shows, whatever, you guys have been kind of lonesome because nobody wants to call anymore. So I figured
I don't think it's that. We haven't been live in how long?
Well, no, you're live on Friday.
I know, but it just hasn't been. I don't know. It seems like we're not pushing it as much as we were. Do we need to push it more?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
All right. Well, then
Yeah.
we'll do that. All right. Well, what do you want? What do you want to chat about anyway? Throw it at
So-
me. You got something?
No, well, just a couple, whatever's the comments about the aim wants to the other person was, yes, they do fall down out of the sky. I just didn't put that if they miss their target, that's when that's going to happen. The rest of it, yes, you're totally correct about how that's going to dissipate if it does hit whatever. But if it misses, it's going to fall down somewhere.
Right. But what did I miss? What did I?
It was the question was, does it have a shell or whatever?
Yeah.
And I didn't go back and say that it had one. I just said that it will fall down out of the sky. I just didn't say if it was the mist, that's what's going to fall down and it's going to land somewhere.
That's correct.
And it
Go
also
ahead.
depends on the altitude or whatever that they hit it at, how many pieces or parts and pieces of. But anyways, that's technical shit, so I'm not going to go there.
Well, correct.
Yeah.
What else?
And when you were talking about history and black history and white history and whatever, it's history. But in this day and age, with how everything is recorded, because it's recorded on it's not like back in the day of stone tablets and you needed scribes to sit there with whatever and take down the words of the hierarchy and whatever. And that was gospel. Nowadays, it's like history it's an open book and you can write it and they're writing it and it rewrites itself every day. And to go back and a lot of the stuff that happened back in the day, yes, the native population didn't have scribes or whatever. That's local, whatever, and it's passed down same as it was hundreds of thousands of years ago. Like they were still in that Stone Age. So their stuff needs to be documented and then to go and it can be fact checked. Believe it or not, you can go and trace their whatever. They're not, because we're going through this thing up here in Canada with everything native. You can't touch this piece of dirt. You can't turn that piece of soil because a native group or whatever may have been there and you're disturbing soil. And we have to go through archaeological digs and whatever. And it's crazy here. So you guys don't have that problem. And I'm going to say yet. I'm sure it will be coming down the pipe eventually if the current regime or whatever still stays in power. It's going to eventually rear its ugly head, but up here it already has.
Do you think the United States government will care?
Your government?
Yeah, because Democrats have shown absolutely no love for Native Americans and they don't even speak to the demographic.
No, and that is what I find totally amazing because as you know, up here, that is the number 1,000 focus. Because that's our demographic group that the politicians go to for free votes. I promise you more free stuff. I'm going to fix your
but it's
water.
1% of the population. They already got the vote. They never needed to curtail to it.
But they're becoming more than 1% of the vote. Like the Native population in Canada,
US?
actually, they saved
No. I'm talking about the U.S., Mel. We're talking.
Oh, sorry.
Listen, I love Canada, but I'm talking about the United States. The Native American population is dwindling in the United States.
No. I totally agree with you.
Okay.
I'm just saying that somewhere, some Elizabeth Warren, somebody's going to do it and raise a stink for a little bit of time, but it's not going to be like it is up to the north. So I thank God for that, because yes, it's all political grab as it is up here. If that ever happens down there, you're going to have a double jeopardy with the African American, and then if you throw the Native American into the fray, you're just a can of worms. You guys also have to go to the fray. It's the American whatever, because that border wasn't solid for the longest time, because the Alamo, Texas, whatever, that was all land, whatever. So that population has moved north and south of whatever the border is now, like defined on the world maps and whatever. So there's that indigenous whatever that can raise its ugly head down the road, more so than the Native Americans. It might be the Mexican Americans that might pull that card out of their little sock.
I don't think it's going to matter when you've got 2.5 to 4 million Latin Americans moving up into the United States in 10 years. This is going to be a moot point.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. I just think things and read things and see things that go on both sides of whatever, and I'm like, I don't like any of it, but you never know what they're going to pull out of their fancy sock drawer as the next bag of tricks.
Well, you can assure this. It's going to be a microcosm of the population that actually gives a shit, whatever it is. It's definitely going to be a minority position that has a lot of emotion tied to it. So I guess, I mean, and you have to assume this. If I told you 10 years ago that the Democratic Party would be literally carrying water for the transsexual community, would you say that I was nuts? And I think every American would say that I would be. In fact, the LGBTQ community 15 years ago, I mean, go listen to Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, listen to Biden, listen to every Democrat that were essentially completely against the union of the LGBTQ people, and not necessarily equal rights, but enhanced rights of that community. They sounded like Republicans of today. And you just couldn't imagine 10 years ago that the transsexual community, because it was such a small demographic of the United States, and we all know that Democrats ultimately want to go for the biggest bang for their buck to solidify and grab the largest minorities possible to represent them from a voting standpoint. And it was a shock that they went after the transsexual community. So I guess it would be probably a shock if they actually started coveting the Native American vote.
And that's what I was saying. They're always picking that small whatever that's going to have that loudest voice. And that little voice keeps growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
It has up whatever. So that's why I said buyer beware, because they're going to pick up on the next bandwagon. I call it bandwagon, whatever. That's, I don't know. I think maybe that's a Canadian term. I don't know. But I'm like, it is. They find that one, BLM, LGBTQ, blue crayon, plus, whatever. And they're in the world population. They still do stats, and they're still under 1% in the world, because all the rest of the countries on the other side take them all out. So
and that's because some of the largest populations, whether it's India, Morocco, Congo, whatever, even Saudi Arabia, they still openly are anti-LGBTQ community, and there's open oppression against the people. But if you take the United States, you take somewhere like Israel, where people are disrespectful towards Israel, but they're actually one of the most accepting LGBTQ countries in the world, even more than the United States, which is absolutely, you just don't think that, considering that they're in the Middle East, but they are. Interesting. I got a question here from Wendy that I want to get to, and then I'm going to mosey because this is my Saturday night with my wife. It says, Matt, I'd like to ask your opinion about a small, but maybe not. North Carolina is now trying to pass a bill for a happy hour in state that's not ever accepted. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm ignorant to this. I don't know if you actually mean like truly a happy hour and making it legal from a drinking perspective, or is happy hour some sort of euphemism for something else. And it says, why is happy hour banned in North Carolina? This is an interesting one. It says, concerns over drunk driving led North Carolina to ban limited drink specials in the 1980s, and the state is now one of only 8 to prohibit happy hours. Though some would surely like to grab a discounted beer at certain times of the day, representatives of the state's food and beverage industry say getting back happy hour isn't currently a top priority. So I don't know if happy hour is the same in Canuckville, but usually what you get is like a buy one, get one, or you'll have drinks are half off on the well and the tap for 1 hour. And essentially people who drink heavily will go in and plow as many drinks as they can in a short period of time in order to save a nickel on getting verschnickeled.
Yeah, well, we have happy hour. It's 3 hours, so yeah.
Hey, Mel, let me kick you. I got another caller coming. Is that okay, sister?
Oh, hell yeah. I just
Love
want
you.
to say one last whatever.
Oh, hurry up.
JT won his whatever against the truckers, and his excessive use of power was approved. So, yeah.
All right.
That was my final. But anyways,
Thank
have a
you
good
for
night.
telling me that, buddy.
Yep.
All right. I'll talk to you soon, Mel. Hey, caller, call me back who just called. It was a, I don't know which number. Call me back. Whoever just called. It was a 906 number and first time calling the show ever. I think it might be Carrie. So if you called, please call back. Here's my take. Is drunk driving is going to happen whether you have a happy hour or not. Responsible people don't drive drunk. People who think that they have some sort of special cognitive ability to not be impaired while driving drunk are just foolish and should never have a license to begin with. I don't think a happy hour necessarily changes the fact that bartenders are responsible for how many drinks they deliver based upon the size of a person. And if they deliver over the legal limit, then they are held culpable. So it doesn't bother me to have happy hour. I think it's stupid. I don't think that it would change. I was a bartender for a long time, and I was always held responsible for the amount of drinks that I gave somebody if they ran into the law. I had a client or a person who frequented the establishment, the Bronco Bar, where I used to bounce and make drinks. And caller, hold on one second. And where I used to bounce and make drinks in college, and this guy was manic depressive and he kept drinking. He was also on psychotropic drugs, and he walked in front of a train on purpose. And of course the police and everything else did an investigation, and I was asked how many drinks I gave him. And I remembered because I knew how important it was. And so I don't think happy hour is going to change the amount of drunk drivers on the road. I think it's ultimately going to create more opportunity if bartenders don't do their job and cut people off like they're supposed to and follow their blood alcohol mix content delivery during a chronatic period. So that's geez, let me just say it simple. If you give if you give a person way too many drinks, you should be held accountable for that, period. And I don't think that has anything to do with the drivers, but the bartender. Who's calling? Is it Carrie?
Yeah, this is Carrie. Hello.
Carrie, what's going on?
Oh, not too much.
Carrie,
I
what
can finally
state are you
talk
from?
without coughing. I had your pneumonia for a month and a half.
Oh, it's nasty shit. What state are you
Yeah.
from?
Michigan.
You're from Michigan. Where's you do some time in Minnesota?
No.
Never. You just got that.
No.
You got that Minnesota accent going on a little bit.
No, when we were younger, my family lived in California. I was born in
Mhm.
Oregon, but no, I'm in the UP of Michigan now.
Okay. All
Most
right.
of my
Cool.
life.
So, Carrie, you've been watching the show how long now?
Over a year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm not really sure how long, but anyway, what do you want to talk about?
Listen, I'm open. It's your nickel, sister. You know me, man. I'm open for anything. What do you want to talk about? You've always got things to say. What's the one in your head that you want to talk about?
There's quite a few. I don't know, the thing going on in Ohio. Did you hear about that Ukraine cargo jet going down loaded with guns and bombs and everything and some kind of white powder?
Yeah, I haven't heard about that yet. When did that take place?
About 3 days ago.
Yeah. Let me look into that.
It's all
because I
over
haven't-
all different news sites. Yeah, if you want to look it up now and stuff and see what you think about it, it's they talked about it for 1 day, and all of a sudden they're silent.
What are your thoughts on this Ohio thing? I mean, obviously FEMA. I mean, I don't understand. It's a natural disaster. It's an ecological disaster. It's not even a natural disaster. It's an ecological disaster.
Well, what I'm concerned about is, them not stepping in right away to help these people. I mean, come on, they're getting poisoned and everything. There's animals dying, birds, fish, everything, worms. I'm sure the bumblebees are dead. And so, the train, Norfolk, that's the same one that owns the one that derailed near Detroit a couple days ago.
Right.
With, toxic chemicals. But they're stepping in there, hiring their own people to investigate and test the air and water and everything. And they're testing these people, their well water, and telling them, oh, it's safe to drink. It's not contaminated. Well, don't they understand it takes time for these chemicals to seep through the ground into their wells?
Water tables,
for a year.
You would have to, if in order for it to spread that fast, you would actually have to permeate into the water table. But surface level water ultimately will seep into the ground. It will permeate. It will mix in with the well water.
Yes,
and
but it
so
takes time.
it's very concerning. And if we're concerned about the Keystone Pipeline, which was doing nothing, you think they would be concerned with, God, I don't know how many 40,000 some odd gallons of this artificial vinyl chemical.
But there's other things that's concerning too. Like when they went to test their air and water, they were trying to get people to sign contracts so they can't sue the railroad. And now they're walking around handing people $1,000, and I'm not sure if they're signing papers for that too. But and you have to realize that some of the people, they're just scared, they're not thinking, and they might be signing this stuff and screwing themselves.
Right. Well, and also the thing about it is that when you look at the chemical component in itself, when it's burnt, it actually turns into an aerosol type vinyl that is extremely toxic and acidic, and they're not.
Wouldn't you think these experts would have known that before they lit it on fire?
Well, that's the thing that I don't understand is why would you now understand ground seepage is horrible. We understand that, but at least it's contained. But once you put it into the air, and once you look at the parts per million and how much went up into the atmosphere, there is a cause for concern that this may not have long-term effects, but it could certainly have short-term effects on other areas and portions of the United States, especially with the river arteries that this is going to impact. It's not just going to be Ohio and Pennsylvania and some parts of Virginia and West Virginia. You're talking, going as far west as, maybe not hitting Nebraska and Oklahoma, but certainly going into possibly Iowa, outside of Illinois, north, south, east, and west, going through these rivers, and it's terrifying. I mean, we just don't understand the long-term damage that this is going to cause.
Right, and then you have the government trying to play it off like, oh, everything's okay, go home.
Well, it's like the balloons, right? Hey, China didn't get anything off. Well, how do you know that? How do you know it's going to be okay? And if you don't have FEMA out there and you don't have the EPA out there, and you haven't run any major tests, then how do you truly know? because they even said, Carrie, if you remember, that we haven't tested all areas. And even the governor came on and said, they said, well, would you feel comfortable going back to your house if you lived in the area? And he said, well, I would ensure that I'm drinking bottled water because it's my understanding that most of the areas they've said are safe, but some they haven't tested yet. And it's like, well, what are the some? Can you give us a fucking list?
Right. Yep.
It's
And then you
terrifying.
have the people that can't get bottled water. A lot of people don't have the means to even pay for it. Some, on the news it said some don't even have cars, that they can't even drive to the store and get the water. So, and then where's FEMA?
Well, that's the whole problem. That's why FEMA comes out, because FEMA's responsibility ultimately is to make the right sound decisions, not to make this disaster worse. So when you go ahead and you have somebody that decides, well, let's just light this barbecue and light this Roman candle up. I mean, FEMA should have been on the scene. They should have had hazmat out there. They should have had mop suits available. They should have had people out there immediately laying out aqueous free-forming foam and other things to contain the fire just to the spillage and not go to the exterior areas, not to burn the metals and the plastics and the paint on these cars. All of that stuff is toxic when it hits a certain degree. But
Right.
there was just no preparedness for this. And this is where, Pete Buttigieg, his comment is, oh, well, there's over, 1,400 derailings a year. So what you're saying is that this isn't your fault because this happens all the fucking time. How does that make any sense?
Right. But then those of us that question all this stuff like we are right now, and if you dig deeper and find out who owns this railroad company, you'll find out, Vanguard, BlackRock, Chase. There's a whole list of them. And if you
Yeah.
dig into those companies, you'll find out that there's China sitting on the board.
Yeah, and this is where you and I usually separate, right? So,
Right.
and you go down those rabbit holes, I don't, and because,
But to me, it's
every-
questions, though. Why?
right? But have you ever played 6 Degrees of Separation with? Okay, here, let's do this. I want you to name an actor from any time period. Go.
I don't
Any
watch a whole lot of TV.
Just come
names.
on, you
I'm
can
like
name
you
an
the other
actor.
day.
Any actor from any time period, any male actor. If
My
you
mind's
can't,
a blank right now.
you're so damn smart. Somebody in chat, give me a male actor from any time period. Go watch. Just hold on. I'm gonna show this to you. And this is just where my brain works versus your brain works. And it's not, neither one are right, neither one are wrong. It's just who we are. Someone give me a male actor from any time period, real quick. Sean Connery.
Okay.
Okay, so Sean Connery. All right. And I think I've almost got it. Hold on. Sean Connery was in the movie The Rock. And in the movie The Rock was Ed Harris. Ed Harris was in the movie All the Right Stuff with Scott Glenn. Scott Glenn was in the movie with, let me see if I can figure the person, Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline was in the movie with Sigourney Weaver in Dave. Sigourney Weaver, hold on, I'm going to get us there. Trust me, you're going to understand. Sigourney Weaver was in the movie with, with John Lithgow. And I can't remember the name of it. John Lithgow was in Footloose with Kevin Bacon. 6 Degrees. You can name any actor from any time period, and I will connect them to Kevin Bacon. I am a master at the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. That there are not 6 actors removed from Kevin Bacon from any other actor in Hollywood. The way your mind works is that you will make a connection that shows consistency on the first or second level and draw yourself patterns to, here is BlackRock, who is buying up real estate, who controls a lot of the food processing plants, who is funded by this organization, who leads to China. And I'm like, why? right? So
Okay.
it's just a different way of thinking. But my point is that everything will, because the amount of money that BlackRock puts in, the amount of hands in the cookie jars that they have, ultimately everything would lead back to them at some point. And that's where I kind of stop and I ask more questions. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does. But
Okay.
speaking of movies, have you watched
Yeah.
White Noise?
No. Is this the one on
Okay.
Netflix?
Yes, the one on Netflix.
This is the one
that
about
came
the
out.
train car derail. We're putting that on tonight.
And the thing is, some of the people in this town, they filmed this movie in that town, East Palestine, and some of the people that were extra actors in there live in that town now. You can't make this stuff up. Come on.
Well,
This is
you
weird.
can't, but audit, listen, okay. If anyone wants to go ahead and, like, when people did that, I'm like, all you got to do is look up Fahrenheit 451, right?
And what was that?
Well, it doesn't matter. You can pick up Animal Farm, and you can look at
Right.
Animal Farm and look at the pathway of some of the things that have happened in the last 50 years with Animal Farm and Orwellian type future. We're there.
Right.
And you could look at 1984 and be like, oh my God. I mean, this is a playbook for the Democrats. It's not to say, and this is why Alex Jones, going back to him, is popular, is because this is what he did. Every 20 years, there's some sort of major pandemic, a vaccine is created. This has been going on since 1870.
Right.
It's not hard for him to come out 20 years ago and talk to Jesse Ventura and say, there's going to be this major pandemic and they're going to force vaccines on everybody and blah, 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 because it's already happened before. So even though you look at that and go, oh my God, Alex Jones, he's in the know. No, the guy's a purveyor of history and understand that it repeats itself. But coincidences happen all the time. And I'm not saying that's not weird. I put it on my watch list, Carrie. I'm going to watch it tonight and I'll let you know what I think. But I also
I
watched
just happened
2000
to watch
Mules.
it, a couple weeks before that happened. I just happened to watch the movie. So when the news came on and I'm seeing this on the news, I'm like, no way.
Right.
I thought
Right.
at first
Well-
they were advertising the movie.
I'm with you. I'm
I'm
with you. I'm like, this is insane. I got to watch it. And I'm completely with you, Carrie. But it's not like I don't
It's
enjoy.
kind of a dumb movie, but it's like
Well, it's
I
not like
only
I don't
watch movies like on the weekends when I want to relax and but yeah, that was kind of weird.
Well, like I said, it's not like I don't watch movies and enjoy them and enjoy the conspiracy theory. Like I've watched all of Michael Moore's stuff. I love a good laugh with that stupid fat bastard. I love.
Can't watch him.
I have to. But see, that's the thing is when people say I can't watch it, you should watch it then. That's what you should watch because it's making you sharper. It's making you understand what they're pushing. But that's just
I do. I mean, I just don't like him. I can't stand him. I do
I can't
watch
stand him
other
either.
shows like that, just to see what the other side is doing and saying and stuff, usually for a laugh.
Deborah says Alex Jones has been on point to a T. Are you sure about that, Deborah? Are you sure? So how about I just do this? When you say someone's on point to a T, okay? Which, if you actually take the meaning of what that statement says, is it a golf reference? No. So it's not a tee box or a golf ball. It's actually a T square based upon drafting. So on point, if you make a left line horizontal and then perpendicular or a vertical line, you will have a cross section of an exact L point and an L ruler. It's basically a point to a T square. It's on point. So, which means that there are no mistakes. It's two perfect intersectional lines that end in the same point. So therefore, Alex Jones is never wrong. Okay? Is that fair? Okay. So that's what you're saying. And if you based me off my last two and a half years on this show, I think I've been wrong twice. That Carrie might say 3 or 4 times. I don't know.
No, I don't say you're wrong, and I don't say I'm right. I just say sometimes, I have questions about things.
Yeah.
But I do look at all sides. I really do.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right. So if I make this point that Alex Jones is never wrong, then explain Sandy Hook to me.
Me?
No.
I'm not a huge Alex-
I'm talking to the listeners. I'm talking to the listeners.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So even though that's really low hanging fruit and the big rocks, there's about 20 other things I can bring up. That just completely blows off your point because he was completely wrong about Sandy Hook. Alex Jones is a smart human being. He's not stupid. He is extremely intelligent, but he takes things to an extreme and he adds a lot of conjecture and supposition without fact. It's very much what Michael Moore does, is that he will take something that has a smidgen of truth and then sew into it fabrication and ultimately makes it make sense. But that doesn't mean it's true. Alex Jones is a sensationalist, and he's very good at what he does. But that doesn't mean he's honest, and it doesn't mean he's true. So I disagree with you vehemently that he is to a T right, because I can tell you 20 things that he has been dead fucking wrong on. Okay? Fair enough. Carrie, what else you got? I'm going to give you a last minute, and then we're going to go.
I don't know. I suppose I could go on and on about all the different subjects, but yeah, I'm pretty tired tonight too. So, but I enjoy your show.
You got 1 minute
I'm
to
there
say
every
anything
night.
you want.
And I don't mean to, make you mad when I do it. I feel that sometimes you can't read when you read a sentence or something. It's you don't get the true meaning sometimes, and sometimes I just ask a question or point out something that I had found out and stuff.
Listen, let me just say this. I'm never mad. Just sometimes I can be a baby. Let's be honest. I get pissing in my Wheaties, and I get kind of sensitive sometimes. So that's all. I enjoy you. I think you're I think you're extremely intelligent, and like family, we argue, and that's it. So no hard feelings, and I hope you don't take it that way. And once I've talked to somebody face to face,
I'm still there. I mean, I have thick skin. It's it doesn't bother me at all, except for when I feel that you took what I said the wrong way, then it's hard to explain when you're typing. So
I agree.
I'll call in more often.
I'll try to be less
sensitive. Something about.
I'll make sure I don't have any sand in my vagina, Carrie. I'll work on it hard.
Okay.
All right, sister. Thanks for calling with me. I'd love to talk to you again anytime. Please call in.
Okay. All right.
All right, Carrie. Bye. Listen, I don't want to jump on Alex Jones and discredit him. The man's more popular than I ever will be. He's done incredible things for his career. I just think that he's the National Enquirer. Anybody that thinks that the United States government has weapons from weather, listen to me. I understand artificial cloud seeding. I understand it. We've used it in some of the most remote places in the world to create natural evaporation, condensation, and convection to create clouds, okay? I understand it's happened. Cloud seeding is something that's real, but controlling the weather is very different. He believes that you can actually make a hurricane, and the government has the ability to make a hurricane. That is fucking insane. Because if we had the natural power to create hurricanes, we could solve the energy crisis. You understand that, right? The power in a hurricane, how much energy do you think that disperses? And if we have the ability to create that, then we would have the ability to sustain that. And if we have the ability to sustain that, then you have unlimited energy. And don't you think, well, Matt, they don't want to release unlimited energy because it takes too much money. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do this with you. How about chemicals in the water turn frogs gay? As some people believe that bees are the connectivity to sustain life on Earth because plants and animals eat plants, and then they go ahead and shit, and then it fertilizes, and then et cetera, and spreads seed and overall colonize the planet with food and sustenance. He believes that frogs and amphibians are also a huge part of that equation. And they're making frogs gay and asexual, or non-sexual, and can't procreate anymore to stop life and depopulation. That's bullshit. I think his comments around pedophilia, around prominent figures that he disagrees with, are stupid. Okay? Robert Mueller is a lot of things. He's a shill. He's a front man. He pays to the highest bidder. I think he's a complete pretentious douchebag, but I don't think he's a satanic pedophile. No, I don't. JM, we did nuclear weapons, so not that far of a stretch. Creating a spontaneous explosion based upon splitting the atom was an accident, just like penicillin. Let's go ahead and call a spade a spade. Creating a hurricane is a lot different than creating an atomic explosion. And when you say control the weather, that means full control of the weather. Rain, snow, hurricanes, typhoons, tempests, high winds, low winds. Come on. Do you believe that? And there's actually people that are going to defend this. What are your opinions on chemtrails, Matthew Spear? I've seen the photos of all of the planes with these supposed chemtrail apparatuses that disperse. Some of them were distillation. Some of them were actually used as compressors. Some of them are for transportation. They're using transportation vessels, and they see them all lined up, and they're like, these are chemtrails. I don't know, man. When you've jumped from 30,000 feet, you tell me, are chemtrails real? When you can actually look behind the plane that you're jumping from, and you're seeing contrail from your vessel, your aircraft. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Do I believe that the government is trying to make us sick for population control? Do I believe that? I think you give way too much credit to the United States government. I've worked for the United States government. I've seen how incompetent they are at just about everything. Shannon says, there's a study for that, Matt. A real scientist. Listen, just because a real scientist did it, what you're saying is that the United States government is trying to make frogs gay. That's what you're saying. I'm not saying that some scientist or some body of work has not at some point tried to go ahead and change the sexuality of frogs. That's not what I said. What you're saying is that there is a government resistance and movement to make all frogs gay. You believe that? That's what you believe. You know, people talk about HAARP. And what they don't realize is that HAARP was actually from a movie from 1982 called Remo Williams' Adventure Begins. Go watch it and watch how foolish you look. And just because HAARP is real, it doesn't mean what you assign to it is real. See, the thing about it, okay, Tina, this isn't from this administration. This has been said for years. What about Pizzagate? What about Hillary Clinton running child sex trafficking rings out of a pizza parlor? You guys, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm not going to sit here and talk. I'm not going to defend Alex Jones. I'm not going to sit here and disprove what he can never prove. But if you watch him, that's fine. You can watch him. It's a kick. I'm sure you enjoy it. But just don't try to sell me on it. And if you believe those things, and you also believe some of the comments about clones and that Ron DeSantis is not really Ron DeSantis, that Ron DeSantis, the real one, has been arrested and he's in Guantanamo Bay, and this is a clone who was put in front of him by Democrats. This is what you believe? Folks, if there is some sort of chemical that's being produced that's turning frogs gay from an after effect of not disposing of things properly, or that ultimately are impacting these ecosystems and changing wildlife, that is a far cry than the government is purposely trying to change the sex of frogs so they become gay. Seriously? Come on, y'all. I don't do this shit on my show. Go watch Alex Jones. I don't do this stuff on there's a reason I don't do this stuff on my show. I don't have time. There's too many things that are real for me to dabble into the fake. I want to order a pizza from Hildebot's Parkour. She kept her server in the toilet there. Hildebot Hillary? Who's Hilda? What are we talking about? All right, folks, that's it. This has been brought to you by the Don't Unfriend Me Show. It was good to have you on. Listen, no hard feelings to Jules. Not that she cares. I'm sure she didn't even bother to turn on because, like she said, it's no big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and play devil's advocate. It comes down to this. If you find yourself labeling an entire party, be careful, because that is what they do to us. You know, we're gun grabbers, we're racist, xenophobic, homophobic people. We're all insurrectionists. Doesn't that sound familiar? Can't we just change the name of the party and change some of the window dressing on what's being said and realize that we're doing the same thing that liberals do to us? I think maybe what we need to do is understand is how are we more alike with liberals than apart? And then we can find our commonality, because it seems like that we make excuses. Well, the liberals do it, so why can't we? That's not an argument. That's an excuse. We should be a little higher brow than that. We should hold ourselves to a higher standard. Why would you make shit up when you can actually hold the liberals accountable, when their policies fail themselves, when their results speak volumes? Why do you need to make stuff up that they're responsible for all mass shootings? It's foolish. The whole point of tonight was to get on and have that conversation and try to help people understand is that we're more alike with liberals than we are apart. We have more in common than we do apart. We should try to remember that. Either way, folks, thanks for watching. I might be on tomorrow. I might not. I probably am going to do a quick little show. But either way, go to the Don't Unfriend Me Show. You can get some cool stuff, man. My new Foxtrot Juliet Bravo hoodie and t-shirt are available. You can pick up a Don't Unfriend Me hat. You can pick up some mugs. You can pick up coffee. Folks, it's all state-of-the-art stuff. This thing is comfy as hell. It's the first hoodie I've really owned. I've got a couple of them, but I don't wear them. I love the stuff. So go on over there. Use code DUMB10 to save 10%. Go pick up a flag from my buddy Jason over there. The one behind me is a wooden flag, all made in the United States. They are gorgeous. Go over there and take a look. God bless everybody. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I will go out with a Veteran Crisis Hotline like I do every night, and I will see you tomorrow or maybe Monday. Good night, everybody. God bless. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and follow. See ya.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call.
Yes, pfcflags.com. Man, I am sick. Thanks, Jason. Christine, I can see.